Alright class, this is a continuation of the previous video that I posted, which would be basically the chapter work introduction, part 1. Now, essentially we just followed the book and built their basic GUI, just trying to get used to everything. This is straight from the book. Now, that brought us to about page 70, I guess 73, somewhere in that range. Technically 71, 2, 3. So if you have the book, what I want you to do is actually open it up. Now, this is roughly what our screen looks like now. Of course, we've got, I can move that over there too, it's fine. Line them up. But this is somewhat what it looks like. It doesn't really matter the buttons here or over there. And if you look at page 72 in the book, 73, and then further to 74. That is the 74 is the end result of what we want this to look like, at least for now. The graphical look at this. So what I want everybody to do for the most part, so far we've created a label, we created some picture boxes, and we created some buttons. Well, it's missing a couple of things. It's missing a third button to go in the middle. It's missing some labels, and then another button for exit window here at the bottom. What is that? Oh, I do have some sort of... Oh, I have an extra button there. I didn't even realize I did that. So, for whatever reason, I'm going to get rid of that extra button for now. So, here's what I want you to do. Given what we've learned so far, go ahead and, as on page 74 of Microsoft Visual Basic 2017 for Windows applications, introductory Shelley Cashman series, finish it. So as of right now, I want you to pause this video, look at that picture, and add the few things that are there. Now as far as the names go, I do think they actually tell you what the names are in the book, of what each of these buttons and each of these labels are. So if you just check the guided program development, they specifically tell you what to name everything there. So what I want you to do is add those few things. So pause the video, add those few things. Once you've got it looking like it's supposed to, come back, and I'll go ahead and add it, and you can see if you did it correctly. So, pause it now. Alright, I assume that you did everything you were supposed to do at this point. You paused the video, you built the program, and it looks fantastic, right? So, I'm going to make mine look like theirs too. So it shouldn't take too long. I'm just going to, and it kind of irritates me that it doesn't look exactly like the book, so I'm going to adjust some of the sizes and stuff on mine, just because it bothers me. I made it the size they wanted, but yet it doesn't look like the books, so I'm going to resize this some. Alright, so I've got a couple of buttons here. Mocha, pumpkin spice. I need another button, obviously, so we'll go ahead and add that. Now, according to what they want, this particular button is going to be, let's see if I can find the name of it. Aha! We have button pumpkin, button mocha. Oh, they actually do have a name for these, actually. So I'm going to check and make sure I did that. Text, button mocha, yes. And I called mine button pumpkin spice, actually. I'll just call it, I'll just erase that and make it button pumpkin, so it matches the book. And this third button is going to be our select latte. So we can go ahead and change the text of that to select latte. Alright, and of course I do need to resize it, but I can just kind of come in here and adjust format, make the same size, width, height, both. There we go. And I can move them all at the same time if I want to, if I feel so inclined. Let's see. And of course we can also just align them all too using this little format. So align, right stops, horizontal spacing, make the same, center in form, horizontally, vertically. There we go. So we'll just do that. This is actually a little bit off, so that's okay. Close enough. So select latte, the name of that button is not going to be button 1. I'm sure it's probably going to be button select or button latte. Let's see, button select. So BTN select, just like that. Pretty much anything that's a button will start with the BTN. And the reason for this is strictly when we're coding and stuff, we know that that's a button when we're looking at the code. We know it's a label if it's a label. We know it's a picture box if it's a picture box, and that sort of thing. So we know what those names, what those bigger things are. And actually, now that I think about this, I should probably look back and see what those picture boxes are named as well, just in case. And I'm going to flip back to page 70, and I don't particularly see, there it is, name the picture box. Pick Mocha and pick, well, pick Mocha for one. And I'm assuming pick Pumpkin for the other. Let's see, yeah, there it is. Where are you? Name it. Pick Pumpkin. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and rename these. I should have mentioned that earlier. But I didn't do that in the previous video because they didn't actually give us a name as we were walking through it. So this is Pick Pumpkin. And this is Pick Mocha. And the reason I'm changing the names of these from picture box to pick, whatever you call it, it's a picture box, so pick. I honestly would probably use PB maybe, but later on when we actually have to deal with the coding, when I click on this, it loads a picture into this. I have to know what the name of it is. And picture box 1 and picture box 2 is not very descriptive. I know there's only 2 here, so it's less confusing, but you gotta have good habits. If you just name everything randomly, it becomes incredibly difficult when your project gets bigger and bigger and bigger. No one wants to say, well, is it button 57 or button 132? Especially in a massively large project. So, alright, so I reset my names. I got my extra button. I need to throw in 2 labels and another button. So that's pretty simple. I just drop a label, drop a label. Look at me, dropping labels. And another button. Boom. So those are the extra things I needed to add. Now I just need to adjust the name, get them ready. Oh, and the select latte, button select, let's see, that should be fine. Sure, it's, okay, here we go. We already did that, so label 1, or in this case, label 2. This is going to be what? Let's see, probably the instructions. So we're going to call this label instructions. And I'm currently on page 73 just looking at the names. So label instructions. And it's very important that you make sure you spelled everything correctly. I know that looks like LBLL, but that's actually a lowercase l and a capital I. They just look very similar. But it's LBL instructions is the name. And obviously for the text, I want actually a fair bit of text here. So choose a latte flavor and then click select latte button. Now I'm going to click that and there we go. I probably want this to be a little bit more in the center. But again, I can come up here and format it and align it if I probably need to, maybe. Is what I'd like to say. But for some reason, it's not letting me do just the one. What if I select more than one? Oh, well then you're fine, but I'm not sure why it's not letting me select the one. Guess I'm just not quite used to this as much as I need to be, but As long as it's pretty close, it's fine. It doesn't have to be, like I said, 100% perfect. I do want this to be a bit bigger, though. Notice it's kind of small, so we're going to adjust the font size of this. In fact, they specifically requested us to adjust the font and font size of this, so we'll do the same thing. I believe it was Tahoma. Come on, stop jumping around. There it is. Haha. So we want it Tahoma. Change the font style to regular. It is regular already. Change the size to 9. Is that the right one? Let's see. Show them the right spot. Those are the buttons. These are labels. Okay, label instructions. Got it. Nope, it says 9, so let's see. Since I changed the font, it should change it a little bit. And again, it doesn't quite look like the book, but that's fine with me. It's okay. I think my picture boxes are actually a little bit too big. That's why it doesn't look quite the same, but we'll be all right. Honestly, if you wanted to make this a little bigger, I don't think it doesn't really matter. Coding-wise, if you think that's a little too small, we can adjust the size a bit. So it looks a little nicer at least. I'm going to go ahead and just tweak it a smidge more. Yeah, something like that's fine. Alright, so we got label instructions. Now we add another label, and this guy here is just going to be, let's see, enjoy your latte selection. So this is going to be label confirmation. So I'll go to the name. LBL confirmation. And it's going to say, enjoy your latte selection for the text. So I'll come up here and just tack that in. And there it is. And I probably want this to be resized as well. So we'll just go ahead and go to the font, adjust. I'm pretty sure we want the font to be the same all the way across the board. I did make this 12 on mine, although the book asks for 9. But as I said, my screen may be a little different, I don't know. So I'm just going to adjust it to 12. As long as it's for the most part there, it should look okay. Alright, so we got our labels. That means the last little bit here is this button. And that button is just the exit windows button. So the text is going to be exit window, and we're going to call it button exit. So scroll on down, name, btn, exit, and the text is going to be exit window. And notice it doesn't quite fit, so I may need to make this a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter. I could probably just make sure they're all the same at least. There we go. Keep running right over it. Make the same size, height. There we go. And I can move this until it lines up with the other things if I need to. Okay, looks alright. Of course, we could line these up a little bit, space them out, however we want to do it. I'm just going to do that. And here we go. It looks pretty close to what they want in the book. I mean, there are some minor differences, like I said. I think these are actually theoretically supposed to be a little smaller. Let me flip back, actually. I followed what the book wanted, set the sizes they wanted, but it's not entirely impossible if they just want a different size. It's also not entirely possible, it's just my screen is just weird. Nope, size 3 to 250, that's what this is set to. 300 to 250. But for whatever reason, it does look a lot bigger than it should. But for the most part, it looks pretty close to what they want, so this should be good enough. Now, our next task in the next chapter, or next video, next section, is to go in and actually add functionality to this. Right now, I can run this, of course, and I have a window that I can play with, but nothing happens at all when I do this. Like, I can click all these little buttons and nothing's going on. Looks like I'm a little cattywampus on one of these. Oh, choose a latte flavor and then select the latte button. Looks like I need to fix that. But yeah, theoretically, I click on pumpkin spice, the pumpkin spice pops up. The mocha picture pops up. And I select whichever latte I want, and ta-da, exit the window should do just this, exit the window. So we're going to add a little bit of code, one to load, and there are going to be some simple lines to load up a picture, to exit out the window. And eventually we could get to the point to where, you know, we're calculating prices and all that stuff as well. After we've gotten used to kind of the GUI, we move on into the actual coding and getting things to be able to do a little more interesting stuff than just laying out the picture. Alright, this concludes the entirety of Chapter 2, building the basic GUI system. The next topic is adding functionality to this, so the buttons actually do stuff. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. So that's going to put us into doing a wee bit of coding. So be prepared for that. If you have any problems or questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.